Good afternoon, everyone. Just take some time out this afternoon to have a little refresher on our Discus III, the Discus II service replacement strategy. I would recommend, if you want to get to this information, that you sign in, because it gives you access to more tools, and I'll explain that here in a sec. I'm surprised it doesn't take this long to sign in. Okay, let me just restart this here real quick.
Mike, you might want to try doing that in Google Chrome as opposed to Internet Explorer.
Well, let me just give it one more time. There we go. I think it timed out on me. Okay, after you sign in, you will go up to your account here where it says My Account. Click it. Now, if you're working a counter, my suggestion would be to go straight down here to Discus III to Discus II, because that's the quickest way you can get to it if you have a customer standing right in front of you. Now, you just follow the instructions. If you have the first 5 characters of the Discus III model, you would type it in. It is not case sensitive. Then under the search result, you would select the compressor that you're actually trying to get the service replacement for. So I'm just going to click on the TSK COO here. Now, in the item's description, the first thing it shows you is the Discus III model that you selected, the COO, and then will be replaced by Discus II model, the 4DL3 F63 TSK 800. That's just how quick it is. Now, under the required kits, it lists out all the mounting kits that are required to take that Discus III and replace it with a Discus II core sense, head fan, and demand cooling. Now, all of these kits, or these mounting kits, come with the compressor. Either it's installed on the compressor or it's in the bag with the compressor. That's how I would do it if I had a customer standing right in front of me. Well, let's go back. Now, let's say maybe you want to do some internal training, or maybe you have a couple of special relationships with contractors. Then, instead of going straight to the field service replacement guide, I would go to counterintelligence. Now, when you get to counterintelligence, you will have to scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see here service replacement for Copeland Discus III compressors. Click on that. Now, if you notice, there's a lot more information available, but we are going to focus still on the Discus III to Discus II. First of all, if you click on that first one, it takes you right to where we just were. Now, if you wanted some supplementary information on this, it'll take you to this presentation that you can go through for your internal employees or a contractor. First of all, it talks about how the two models are have the same capacity, same mounting, same connection points, but then it talks about the nomenclature, and it shows you what the differences are. The fourth character, of course, on a D2 would be a letter 3. For a digital model, it's a letter D. And on the Discus III model, it shows you that the fourth character is a letter N, and for a digital model, it's the letter X. Now, as far as the brackets go, it's important to understand this date code because if you have a Discus II compressor on your shelf that is dated before May 1st, 2013, keep in mind that these mounting bracket kits will not be with that compressor. And if you're going to use it for a Discus III service replacement, you'll have to make sure you order those brackets. Now, the brackets in question, the first one here is this 974-1315, which is the universal bracket. Now, with this bracket, you can connect all four of these devices here, both CoreSense protection generations and both Centronic generations will all or can all be attached to the universal bracket. Now, the other two brackets in question is the head fan bracket for both the 4D and 6D model and the demand cooling brackets. These do ship with the compressor. And if you do have any other questions on it, you can pull up this document here, 2012 DS-47. Now, the deep sump. There's been some questions surrounding the deep sump, which affects 6D models only. Now, when we went to the Discus III, we got rid of the deep sump, so everything that you would use for a replacement has to be a flat bottom. If you order a -800 in these three models here, you're going to get a deep sump compressor and it will not fit in the system. Make sure you order the -899 because that model will have a flat bottom on it and it'll fit nicely into the system. Next is the Discus III models that were released that have no service replacement. So the service replacement will be a Discus III model with a -800 bomb. That would be the 4DB and 4DC models. And for the 6D, it would be the 6DU and 6DV. We will have these, and they are available in service models. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the fact that if you have a CoreSense with diagnostics, those bracket kits are a little bit different than the regular CoreSense kits, and you need to make sure that you order the correct thing. So one thing that we have to help you figure that out is the matrix here. Here's your 4D and your 6D models. Your CoreSense protection model would take the 974-1315 that you saw in the previous slide. But if it was a diagnostics, meaning a -AOO, if you look over here, anything that begins with the letter A in the bill of material on a Discus III would be CoreSense with diagnostics. So it could be an A27, an A whatever. It would need this kit here, the 998-3000-04 for the CoreSense mounting kit or Centronic or whatever you have. The low temp kits you would have to have are kind of, well, they're not kind of, they are the same for demand cooling and the digital head fan. But the unloading kits are different for the CoreSense protection versus CoreSense diagnostics. And if you notice, there's a 24-volt coil here. You have to make sure you have that, excuse me, for ISD 1.0 or 2.0. And you know that it's an unloading model with the letter K here. Okay, and the same would be for the 6D. So that's how you would follow this cross-reference matrix to understand what to do if you have CoreSense protection or CoreSense with diagnostics. So if we go back to this slide here or this place here in the Discus III service information, you can get to the marketing bulletins quickly that explain the Discus III service replacement strategy. Go back. Again, we already looked at the matrix. And then you could also get right to the marketing bulletin. If I can get it to click on there. There you go. The OEM marketing bulletin that describes the new Discus III generation implementation or launch. So basically, that is the information I have for the Discus III service replacement information. There was one thing that I did want to show you. What if you're an OPI? Now, Julie mentioned earlier it's better to use Chrome in certain instances, and I would agree, especially if you happen to be an OPI and you're working on a Discus III program. So here, I'm just going to go straight in to compressors, and I am using Google, and I already typed in the 4D-HNF and submit. Now, I'm going to pick a refrigerant. 22 will work, but, you know, I think a lot of compressors now out in the system are using 404A, so I just decided to select the 60 hertz application, 404A. And if you come down here on the summary tab and come down to Discus III service replacement strategy, there is a Prezi that's available, and it talks all about the program as well. The important thing to remember about this strategy, this Prezi as you're going through it, is to make sure you use the arrow keys. So if you use it, it starts out by taking you to some marketing slides talking about the program, talks about the next generation and, you know, why this model was brought, this new generation was implemented. And the next, it talks about the strategy and the replacement strategy for Discus III, and the fact that all the mounting kits are available, all the things we basically went through already. Talks about core sense. Now it starts telling you the similarities between the two models. Same service connection sizes, electrical drop-in UL equivalent, terminal box, mounting, side glass location. All that's the same. Then it takes you to the 5 steps that you need from a service perspective. And here it's going to ask you for the entire model. And if you're in this application, I understand why it's asking for all 15, because you do have to realize it if you have a COO and whether it had oil or didn't have oil, but nonetheless, all service compressors always ship with polyester oil. Then it just says identify if you had a head fan, demand cooling, unloading. This is great if you have a contractor who's not familiar with this. Now it gets to selecting the proper replacement, and we've already went to this site here, but if you were using this, you could click on this and it would take you straight there. If you wanted to branch away a little bit and hit Copeland Mobile, you could do that as well. The 4th step here tells you what you have to change out on the compressor. First of all, it tells you the terminal box, and then the core sense protection. And then it talks about if you had demand cooling or a head fan and the mounting brackets you would need in order to make that transition. And then it goes into the steps to get the compressor back online, which most contractors, know that they need to make sure the core sense is installed correctly, the compressor's wired correctly, and the service valves are open. If they would need any information to help them through this process, they can click right here to this application bulletin to get all the information they would need. And you recall we were here, they could even click this and get down here where we were earlier and click on each of those individual links to get more information. It allows you to click right into the distributor locator as well. And that is the Prezi for Discus III to Discus II service replacement.
Great. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Let me exit out of here. So are there any questions?
I have not seen any questions come up yet. I did have a comment. I know that some wholesalers have issues with accessing YouTube, and I'm more than happy to provide any of these videos in a different format as well. So if you just want the MP4 video to share within your organization, I'm happy to do that. I can send that out. For those of you that have asked for it, I will go ahead and send that to you once the video renders in WebEx. We did have a question, not from Mike. Let's see. Scroll back up here. Hang on. It says, will there be another in-depth webinar navigating the product selection software program? Yes, we are going to get Brian Beinasek back to do more of an in-depth program. I will tell you, he is pretty booked up, working on a couple of other things, but we're going to try and get him on a schedule as soon as possible. And then question on here about how soon the -800 bills of material for Discus III compressors will be available. And Chris, that's a loaded question. I will tell you.
You're right, and it's.
Go ahead, Mike, if you want to take a stab at this one.
Yeah, you know, I think it's close. It may still be yet this calendar year that they will start to implement some of them, but I cannot give you a specific date. Thomas Chrysler, if you're on, maybe you have some more information on that.
Let me see if Thomas is on. If not, I actually had a request this morning from another counter guy, John Dresser, one of your guys. Gabe had requested some information on some refrigerant phase-outs and a couple of other things related to, oh gosh, I can't even recall at this point, but they were topics that would be better suited to be addressed by somebody from engineering or product planning. I don't see Thomas Chrysler on here. But we will get an answer on when we're going to start remanufacturing the Discus III bodies. I can tell you that we are starting to accumulate quite a few at Rushville. The issue is turning into how do we differentiate them between the Discus II bodies? Would it be a universal number, a universal product number, and you could get either a Discus II or a Discus III? So we're trying to work through the mechanics of all of that. My suspicion is, Mike, I'm not sure where we landed on it, but just to minimize kind of SKU proliferation, we will probably standardize, and unless you absolutely needed a Discus III body to replace a Discus III or a Discus II to replace a Discus II, it would be, you would order and you would get whatever kind of comes down the line, whichever body is available, and it would, again, have kind of the universal brackets for swapping out whichever electronics or accessories that are on the failed compressors. So that's, Mike, did I get that right?
I would say, I won't say that's a definite plan, but that's one of the avenues we are looking at. Okay. I can talk to you more offline, Julie.
Yep. We do have another question. If you have a model with a deep sump that needs to be replaced, do you replace it with a deep sump or a flat bottom? And I think you hit on that earlier, but I'm not sure that this individual asking was on quite yet. I saw him pop up and log in a little bit later. But can you hit that again? The deep sump, you replace it with deep sump or flat bottom?
Yeah, I should be able to grab that quickly again here. This is it here.
And actually, Mike, while you're navigating to that, I put into the chat here, you can navigate to this Discus 3 to Discus 2 tool on the portal. You can log in and navigate to it. It's on the My Account page on the left-hand navigation. But I did put in the chat window a direct link to the Discus 3 to Discus 2 tool. And I would recommend just adding that to your favorites. And then also for any of your, computer terminals at the branch, go ahead and add it as an icon on the desktop, or put it on their favorites as well, in case they're not logged into the portal, or if they don't have access to the portal, they can still get to that website and do the conversion, the D3 to D2 conversion.
That's a great point.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
And I think that last slide, Julie, in that presentation you'll send out, has a link to where they could just copy it and put it in their favorites. And then that way, to your point, if they want to put it on all the counter computers and then just have one place to click it and it pops right up, that would work great for them. That's kind of what I showed in one of the screenshots. And I'll go back after I answer this question again on the deep sumps. Again, it only affects the 6D models, and we consolidated these three models here into one. Okay, so the 6DJ, it's the same capacity and whatnot. One's unloading, one isn't. One had 6DS, I believe, I think it's one for oil with the oil loop in it. So we consolidated down to a 6DS3. But to ensure that you get the flat bottom model, you have to order the -899. If you order this model with a -800, you will get a deep sump model, which you do not want if it's for a Discus 3 replacement. Did I answer your question?
Yep, I think you did. Let me just Chuck, I think that came from you. Let me unmute you here real quick, Chuck, and sure. Are you there, Chuck?
Yes, it did, and I missed. He did say that, and so the 800 is the deep, and the 899 is the flat. So you want to make sure you're getting the 89. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So if we went back, let's see if I can get back there. If we go back, Julie, just to reiterate your point about what the counter guy should do, is basically take that, take this link here, which I have on the last slide, and put it into your favorites on all the computers, and that way all you have to do is click it and boom, it's right there for you. Hopefully that helps.
Yep, all you would do there, for anybody that's not familiar with it, you see the little star icon to the right there, Mike. If you just hit that star, that's going to add that to your favorites, and you can select where you want to put it.
Add the favorites, boom.
Add the favorites.
You can move it around.
You can move it over.
3 minutes left. Any more questions?
I haven't seen any other questions. We did have a comment from AC that you can also get to this link from OPI as well. And yep, that is correct.
That's true.
Nope, no more questions. And I'll tell you what, everybody, thank you for joining us today. We have tomorrow off. Enjoy your Good Friday and your Easter weekend. We will be on Monday. So everybody stay safe. Have a great for those of you that are off, have a great 3-day weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Okay, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, Mike. Good job.
No problem.